Hello, my name is Andy and I am the village idiot, and I'm on with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. Welcome back to West Lindsey, and you find me sitting on a flood wall to begin this one along the banks of the River Trent, and over the Trent you can see a settlement. That settlement is West Stockwith, which is coming up soon in the Bassetlaw series, and I'm on the other side of the River Trent with this one. This is the other Stockwith. This is East Stockwith. East Stockwith is another village in the West Lindsey district of Lincolnshire along the eastern bank of the River Trent. We're 3 miles northwest of Gainsborough here. In 2001 it had a total resident population of 209, which increased to 314 at the 2011 census. The village contains a church and a pub, both of which we'll see on the trip around what is a nice circular village. So this is a nice circular walk around East Stockwith, and it's made primarily of 2 streets. We have Front Street and Back Street. I'm walking down Back Street first, and then I'll come back down Front Street, which will eventually bring me out just there in a nice circular fashion. The location and layout of the settlement took advantage of the opportunities for communication, trade and transport. The village has 2 large arable farms growing mainly wheat and potatoes. Local leisure activities include angling on the Trent, particularly for eels, and horse riding is a popular activity here too. East Stockwith dates from at least the 12th century, and despite the circular walking route, it's still defined as a linear village, strongly influenced by its siting on the banks of the Trent. The mix of early 18th and 19th century buildings and the spatial arrangement of long, narrow strips of land, which traditionally accommodated farmhouses and ranges of outbuildings, all contribute to the village's distinctive character. The name East Stockwith derives from the Danish stocc, hyth, meaning the landing place made of stocks or tree trunks. So there are plenty of little access points between Front Street and Back Street. This is one of them. I've seen quite a few just walking along Back Street. There may even be more that I missed. Opposite East Stockwith on the River Trent is West Stockwith, a large village within the county boundaries of Nottinghamshire. The 2 villages were once connected by a ferry which stopped in 1953. The ferry is referenced throughout history from at least 1226. It had been around for centuries. West Stockwith, incidentally, is notable for the basin of the Chesterfield Canal, where the River Idle joins the River Trent. The ferry was winch operated with chains, linking the 2 sides. Time to head back from whence we came via Front Street. Now Front Street is in sections, it's not one straight continuous road. In fact, I can show you here, this is a dead end. This is where it meets Back Street, just here on the road out towards Wildsworth. Now it's in bits, but you can walk it, you can walk the whole way. You can't drive it, you can definitely walk it though, because there's a footpath. The earliest surviving buildings within the village were built along Front Street, facing the River Trent. These date from the 18th to 20th centuries and are built in a range of different architectural styles. So even though East and West Stockwith are separated by literally just a few hundred metres, you have to drive a long way round, either through North Lincolnshire and over Kidby Bridge to get to West Stockwith from here, or down to Gainsborough and over the Trent Bridge and up through Beckingham and Walkeringham just to get there. There's no ferry service across the river these days. Late 20th century residential developments have altered both the character and form of the village to what it is today. The village was designated in March 1988 as an area of special architectural or historical interest under Section 277 of the Town and Country Planning Act 1971. The conservation area boundary is primarily the historic core of the village. One of those properties which it covers is the Manor House, a large white building, the one you can see in shot here. Amazingly, this is not a listed building. Demographically, East Stockwith has a population density of 90.86, covering as it does some 3.1 square kilometres. There's a lot of retired folk here too. 36.9% of the population are aged 65 or over. The majority identify as white British, and that figure is 99.4%. The average house in this Trentside locale goes up for sale for £270,000. Here might be a reason why those demographics show a high number of over 65s. On Back Street, we have the huge Grosvenor Care Home. The Bus Times website lists 3 bus services that call through East Stockwith, but one of them is the Call Connect 100G service, the other 2 being the 61 and 367 stagecoach services. Here we have the village's pub, the Ferry House, which is an established country pub and restaurant with an excellent reputation. The ferry's terminus is shown on older OS maps, together with a landing stage and a public house at the Lincolnshire end. This is that public house. It's recently had a refurbishment and boasts a seating area at the front, which overlooks the Trent. The Church of St Peter was consecrated on the 6th of July 1846. It's a small building of stone and was restored in 1899. It can seat 220 people. In 2008, an earthquake and high winds toppled the church steeple onto the altar. Repairs and restoration have since returned the church to full functionality. So, one for the regular viewers here actually. You remember the Hodsock video in Basset Law? Well, we saw some snowdrops there. I think East Stockwiths are just as pretty. This is in the churchyard. How about these? In 2018, a local farmer found an intact propeller from a World War II aircraft. The parish council would then erect a memorial to the crew who all died. This memorial has the renovated propeller set in stone with the crew's names inscribed upon it. Having researched the crew, a memorial event was held with a Spitfire flypast and a village tea. The memorial is situated on Back Street and it's right next to the village's war memorial. There were 2 chapels in the village. The Wesleyan Methodists built a chapel here in 1910, whilst the Primitive Methodists did so in 1870. This is the latter of the 2, no longer in use. And there was once a school, which although now closed, still stands. A school board was formed on the 6th of February 1896 for East Stockwith and Walkerith, and this was the building that was built in 1896 to hold 150 children. And of course, if we're talking about landmarks, we can't overlook the river. It's by far the biggest and most important throughout history here in East Stockwith. And with that, we're pretty much done with East Stockwith. Now, there is going to be a picture bit today because there are a few bits which are set back from the Trent, if you like, that I haven't been to, and they're coming your way right now. I can guarantee you there will not be a picture bit in the next one or in the one after it, because they're very, very small places, and I'm going to the first one of those two places right now, in fact, which involves a fairish drive actually from East Stockwith. I think it's about 2 or 3 miles up the bank of the Trent to the next one. And when we get there, there's not really much of a settlement to write home about. But you know me, I will definitely find some things to talk about next week. This has been the Parish of East Stockwith, and I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.